We have some interesting stuff happening. Players backstage are trying to guess the game that's coming up next. What's it gonna be? We're gonna find out really soon.
Stage 4. Splatoon 2. Hold on to your tentacles. It's Inkopolis news time. This stage will be a battle for tower control. Whichever team moves the tower into the opponent's base takes the match, but they'll have to win 2 of 3 matches to reach the next stage and avoid the underground. May the freshest Squid Squad triumph on the tower.
Aw, yeah, Splatoon 2, we got the crew back together again from the 2017 World Inkling Invitational. It's going to be very exciting to see what's in store here. Before we get to what these players will face, let's take a look at the rules as we get set for Stage 4 of these 2017 championships. It's going to be a best-of-3 tower control on the brand new Snapper Canal level that dropped like it was hot yesterday. So these players maybe could have had a chance if they were playing some Splatoon online. The teams are going to be seeded 1, 3, 6, 8 versus 2, 4, 5, 7. So you're going to try to get an even balance of the standings so far. It's pretty simple. The winning team, all members of that team, will advance to Stage 5. So Ashley, Splatoon 2, Tower Control, Snapper Canal, you look at how a team has to work together in Tower Control. What do they have to keep in mind?
I mean, this is the first time in the competition so far where they have to work together. They cannot run off and just decide to go by themselves and go nuts and try to win it for their team. They have to work together here, especially in Tower Control.
But at the same time, these players have never played together. So they're going to have to adapt really quickly and kind of each take a role and play that role really well.
It looks like everything's all taken care of for Splatoon 2. Thank you so much for sticking with us here. Let's send it down to the players for 4 versus 4. Tower Control, Snapper Canal. Let's go ahead and point out the purple team. You got the Sloshing Machine, Splatter Shot, Octo Brush, another Splatter Shot. Meanwhile, for the green team, you've got the Squelcher, Inzap 85, Roller, and Splatter Shot Pro here, Ashley.
Very interesting. A lot of range, but not quite charger level. So there's going to be a lot of far away shooting, which is a good thing here with the Canal.
Keep an eye on the score at the top of your screen. The lowest score when time expires is your leader. Right now, green in the lead at 84. They're moving it to the first checkpoint of purple, and we have our first ink cloud covering the field in that green ink, and green moving along to the second checkpoint, having no issues whatsoever here, Ashley.
The forecast is an ink storm, and that is going to slow down the purple team tremendously.
You got Turboron and Kyle W right now at the top of that tower. Oh, they get a critical splat on purple, and that green tower is moving along with no issues whatsoever. However,
Kyle!
Nice little flank by purple. Cole and Numbers doing a fine job of keeping that tower at bay. And now purple hops back on the tower. 2-2 on the field, 4 minutes left, 20-91. Green with the lead here, Ashley.
Gosh, this is some really good play by both teams. They're pushing it back and forth. I want to see what happens right here. There's a lot of green happening. They're going to have to do a lot of defense to be able to keep that tower.
A lot of the green team, 2 of them on the field right now. Purple with a 4-0 advantage. And here's where purple can make that violet push at this point. Getting to the first checkpoint, they're going to go ahead and tick that down. You see Jeff B with that Octo Brush covering all the turf, getting some help from Numbers with that splatter shot. Meanwhile, you've got Cole G on the ground covering the turf. And actually, we're seeing great communication with this purple team early on.
Very much. You saw that toxic ink come in, and it gives away their position. No matter where they go, they were able to get off the tower, get back, take a second, and get back on.
And purple comes storming back. 3-1 on the field right now.
Right in the
2
water.
specials ready for purple. And purple has gone and captured the lead with 3 minutes left. Green, however, retakes the tower.
Oh, no.
20-18, purple with the lead. And you see that point right there at that last checkpoint, actually. It's hard to make that final push.
It's a tough one. You're so close to the enemy base. Even if they're all respawning, they're going to get there so fast.
2:48 left in this one. Green on the tower. You see that ink storm dropping. That's going to go ahead and rain ink all over the stage. 2 ink storms. Cloudy with a chance of green ink. And Green's trying to get past this last checkpoint. They trail purple by 2.
Wow,
they have a 4-0
double
advantage, Ashley, as you look at the squids at the top of your screen.
This is a massive advantage. That respawn time is going to allow them to get really far, probably to the next checkpoint, and they are doing a really good job of taking people out.
Santiago gets splatted before using the ink armor. Could have provided some important resistance, but Green with a 3-1 advantage, and they've taken the lead from purple with 2:12 left Ashley.
That canal is so tough, especially because it's a new map. It is really hard to have spatial awareness, and that is so key in Splatoon.
What we're seeing here as these two teams jockey for position back and forth, Ashley, is that there's that one perch at the top near the final checkpoint that teams are really getting flanked by as they try to make that final push.
It's those medium-range weapons. They're able to really reach the tower just like that. Take out Jeff B. They've got green team on the tower. They've got a paint. There we go. We've got some inking going, but Coveroon.
4-1 purple advantage as green tries to respawn and make their way back. Just a minute 30 left in this one. Both teams are neck and neck. Purple right now trying to make that push. They have to get to that final checkpoint that you'll see at your top left. That can take the advantage. You've got an inkjet ready to go for Jeff B, but he has to stay on the tower. Here comes his teammate to spawn here. No! Jeff B falling in the water again, Ashley.
3. Oh, man. All of purple is out right now. We've got green team on that tower. We've got an ink storm coming in. It's going to be very difficult for purple to move on the map wherever that ink storm hits.
1 minute left, 4-3 on the field advantage. Green, they've also got the 2-point lead. They're trying to hold on to get this first of 2 important wins. They have to get to advance. 2 specials for green versus the 3 purple. You see the Tenta missiles and the ink storm deployed. Right now, that tower going back and forth in the middle. But here comes purple with 3-2 advantage on the field. And Ashley, such a tight score at this point.
This is so close. 18-16. They're both so close to the end, and we see purple really taking it in here.
Now you see the purple teammates spawning, and it looks like this is their chance for the push. 30 seconds left.
30 seconds.
4-1 on the field.
Inkjet ready.
on the field, and purple going to go ahead and seize control of that lead. No! Green able to fight back, and there's still time left. Remember, if anybody's on the tower that isn't winning, we're headed to overtime as Green trying to get this win. They're down 6, but no.
Oh no,
Purple
someone from Purple's got to get on.
5 seconds left. Green not on the tower. Purple taking the tower. 1 second left, and that'll do it. Purple.
That stingray at the end. Ouch.
Purple
Ouch.
ink storming their way back to take the victory from the tentacles of green, and that is one pivotal victory. Remember, first team to 2 wins on tower control Snapper Canal will advance to the next round. All 4 of them. The 4 that don't win, they go back down to the underground. So Ashley, goes to show you how back and forth tower control can be, and you can never relax.
This is what I love about this game mode in Splatoon 2 is that in tower control, when you are on that tower, it is really difficult to stay on that tower for a long time. So a lot of times you'll see teammates switch off. We saw that with the green team. They sat there and they switched off, but it wasn't just, they didn't quite do it.
Well, you talk about that switching off, and Smitty, excellent camera work right there, and it looks like
Yeah,
the
very
players
good.
are getting set for the second game. You hear that guitar riff that we're all so familiar with. This time, we're going to go ahead and call that teal versus purple at this point. Let's take a look at the teal. You've got, well, we'll go with green. Why not? That's easier to say.
Sure,
Let's go
green
with
and purple.
Welchers in Zap 85, Roller, Splatter Shot Pro, and purple with a lot of weapons. Let's see who can take it. Here we are, 4:45 left in this second round of tower control. As we mentioned earlier, purple had the initial victory. They need 1 more to go ahead and move to the next stage. Let's see if green learned anything from last time, Ashley, as far as putting consistent pressure on that tower.
It does look like they've learned a little bit, but we got a lot of pressure on Marco R right now, and he's got some support behind him. Great work with, but those rollers don't quite reach far enough.
Numbers doing a fine job ducking behind the tower. Our 2015 champion helping push his purple team to that first victory, but here comes green. Early advantage right now. They're to the first checkpoint. They've got to win to stay alive. Meanwhile, purple with 1 more win, they win, but no! You get splatted, Ashley, before you use the special, and that can be devastating for your team.
Oh, it just hurts so much when you're just about to use that special and then you get splatted and you lose that gauge.
Green moves along to checkpoint 2, but we all know it comes down to checkpoint 1. You got the Octo Brush and some pressure from up above. A couple of splat bombs coming down, and purple regaining the tower. However, green with the early 21-87 lead. Purple with that 4-3 advantage on the field right now, Ash.
Oh, very nice move by John Numbers. Getting in there, taking somebody out there, using the Stingray, which goes through walls. No one likes that.
No, nobody likes that at all. You got to avoid that Stingray at all costs. Looks like purple's ready to make their all-important push right now. You got Jeff B just wailing that
Lot
push
of purple.
left and right, trying to fight the pressure, get some great teamwork from that
Marco.
Jeff right now. However, they hopped off the tower.
Very
Why would
smart.
they do that, Ashley?
You get off the tower when there's things like suction bombs, when there's things like You've got all kinds of things coming at you. Tenta-missiles.
This is a pivotal point in the match. 3-1 on the field right now. Advantage purple. You see the two flashing squids. That means they have two specials ready to go. But no, that sloshing machine goes and gets splatted. It's still anybody's match. With 2:50 left in this one, purple looking for one more win to clinch the trip to the next round. And we're back. Green playing some defense right there. They still have the 3-point lead, and they cleared house of the purple right there, Ashley.
There's so much purple on the ground right now. We've got Tenta-missiles launching. It looks really good. It's a great spot. That's the place where the opponents are going to be coming in.
But look at the rail that the tower's moving on. A lot of purple right there. That's
So much purple.
Inhibit the movement of the green team. But there you see Marco very wisely inking that territory that we talked about.
Very smart move by Kyle there to jump off that tower when that Octo Brush shows up, and he was able to get the splat.
Kyle's got some tricks right there, holding the back line for his team. Kyle gets splatted before using those Tenta-missiles. You see the Booyah trying to alert his team to an enemy right there. Purple once again playing defense. However, they're going to need a little bit more offense because they trail by 3 with a minute 55. Remember, first team to ride the tower to the goal, or whoever has the lowest score will be your winner. And Ash, you start to look at 148. Purple, how aggressive do you have to be?
I mean, they have to be very aggressive. There is a lot of green on this map right now, and I am a little concerned for purple. They may go to 3 games.
1:37 left. Purple with a 3-point lead. Purple trailing by 3 at this point. Green with a 3-point lead. They're riding that tower to the final checkpoint.
There we go.
Trying to hold on tight, trying to avoid the splat using the guard of the tower. No!
It was a pincer maneuver.
So let me ask you something, Ashley. If I'm green and I have the lead, do I start to focus on being more defensive just to keep purple at bay?
Absolutely. I mean, you just keep them off that tower and you win. You just play defense.
Green with the lead. Just about a minute left. Here comes some more Tenta-missiles from the green team. Inking a bunch of chaos in the middle of this map, this brand new map, Snapper Canal, that was released. 1 minute left. Green
so
trying
much
to get
instant
that
action.
push past the final checkpoint. However, purple holding strong. They're going to have to turn things around here soon, Ashley.
Yes, they definitely do. It's, again, very close to the enemy base. He tried so hard, but it's 2-on-1. That's a tough, tough fight.
It's tough, especially when the fact that you can't ink that territory that you're on. Meanwhile, purple, they're going to ride the tower. They've got a couple of their teammates on top of it, octo brushing and using that sloshing machine as well too. And now 30 seconds left, Ashley. This is where you have to make your last final push.
It is a really good strategy to have a slosher and a brush on top of that tower. But as we see, it is so easy to lose your positioning there. And now we've got all 4 purple members out of the game.
And green's got it cracking at this point. 4-2 advantage on the field for green. All they have to do is hold on for 12 more seconds and they will tie up this stage 4 Splatoon 4 versus 4 matchup. An unbelievable work by Marco to hop off the tower and get the splat. 3 seconds left. This match is going to green. And folks, we're headed to a 3rd and final match as you see Marco just rolling over the opposition right there, Ashley.
Great move. That is how you play the game like a team. He went over, he flanked, he got behind somebody they didn't quite notice, and then he just brought down the roller.
Look at the confidence, the swagger of the youngster, unimpeded by this big stage and being able to show out and really help out his team right there. Pivotal move, and now you talk about tension. You've got 8 of the best players remaining, 4-on-4, 1 match of tower control to determine who moves on to the next stage and who goes to the underground, Ashley.
I mean, I think we can all agree that these 8 players are all fresh. I think we can all agree.
And what's great too is now that they have 2 matches underneath their belt, how does that help aid their teamwork as they get set for this 3rd and pivotal match?
Each one of them has a win. And they have had literally in this competition the maximum amount of time to learn that map. So now I think we're going to see, we've seen 2 close matches. Now I think we're going to see an even tighter match.
And what it looks like is that final checkpoint is getting so difficult to move beyond that. You have to be so coordinated as a team, and that's the challenge of Snapper Control. We've got orange versus green. Green got the victory last time. Orange has been the purple color the majority of the time. So let's see if Numbers and his team that won the first match can bounce back as orange in this 3rd one and take that victory and move along. Early lead goes to green though. They're at checkpoint number 1, approaching checkpoint number 2. Can green take this early lead and make something happen? We'll find out here in just a moment. That was a special moment indeed. 155. Orange seizes control of the tower. Let's go ahead and get some citrus on top of that as we move this thing along the canal at this point. And you've got a coordinated effort that needs to be done, and it really seems like that second checkpoint, if you can clear that, Ashley, you're going to gain a lot of ground on your opponent.
Absolutely. If you have that second checkpoint, when it goes backwards, you've got a little more time to catch up, get on that tower, and get the job done.
90 to 55, the lead is for green. Remind you, if you have the lowest score or you ride the tower to the goal, you will be victorious. 350 left in this third and decisive match. The winning team, all 4 of their players, advance in the 2017 Nintendo World Championships. The losing 4, you're sent to the underground. 340 left in this one. Green team trying to increase on their lead. They've got the Ink Storm helping them out at this point, but no! Orange going to go ahead and take control of the tower once again. And Ashley, Orange playing some much better defense.
Oh no, Jeff B right into the canal. It's so easy to lose your sense of direction when you're on that tower and drop right into the water.
Well, you see the mesh ring around the outside of the tower. If you turn into a squid, you fall through that mesh. And if you're over the water, it's Curse Splash for you.
That was a nice Pentamissiles attack.
3-1 advantage on the field for green. They're on the tower. They have the lead. Everything's looking up for them. Oh,
very nice,
Santiago hopping down and saying hello to my little friend, but falling into the water at that point. 90-55, anybody's match at this point. And we're back here. Orange team on top of the tower trying to make their first vital push of this match. You see Jeff B trying to do everything he can to help clear out some of the green competitors. Oh, here comes Orange threatening the lead here, Ashley.
This is getting serious. They're coming to the second checkpoint. It looks like they're going to make it there. They have to stay there for 10 seconds. Look at that inkjet action.
And Orange takes the lead, 55-40. Using those specials, Cole has the Stingray ready to go, but no, gets splatted by that roller. We see Marco doing work with that roller like he did last match. And here comes Green Team. They're up 4-2 on the field, but they trail by 22. Oh, gonna get splat by Thomas. That Orange still in that green territory right now, but Green trying to do everything they can to push it out, Ashley.
Yeah, absolutely. They're gonna work really hard to get, you see everybody is just doing their best not to fall in the water at those points, but here comes the Stingray!
2 minutes left. Green team trying to answer back to push that Orange had. Oh, you've got 3-0 on the field, 3-1 Orange. Orange doing a great job of clearing out the entire green team. Minute 45 left. These two teams are fighting for their Nintendo Championship lives. Bottom 4 go down to the underground. Top 4 advance to the next stage. 2-1 on the field for green. The tower is there for anybody. Just like a sample at the grocery store, someone's got to go pick that up and take it home. Meanwhile, 55-33, green on the tower trying to make a push. You see a couple one-on-ones over here, Ashley, and sometimes you want to take attention away from the tower.
Yeah, sometimes you want to get ahead of the tower, take out a couple of opponents, and give your teammates time to ride it.
3-2, Orange team advantage on the field. They have the lead, 55-33. Jeff B being very careful about hopping off that tower, hopping back on, making sure that you can use that middle pillar for cover. There's the auto bomb, missing that, but no, Jeff B avoids falling into the water, and Orange going to increase their lead as they get to the checkpoint, but no. Green's gonna flip the script, and Ashley, a minute left. This is where Green has to make it count.
Orange takes it back. They're so close to the last checkpoint. They take it back. They've only got a few teammates.
46 seconds left.
G
Orange trying to
barely.
get past this checkpoint. Thomas G able to survive, but no. Green clearing things out, and here we go. 38 seconds. Final push available for Green unless they can force overtime. 18-55. Reminder, winning team advances to the next stage. Bottom 4 drop to the underground. Green team, we see Tuberon trying to hide in the ink right there. Critical splat with the Ink Storm. 4-1 on the field. Let's gear up for this finish here. Ashley, what does Green need to do?
I mean, all they have to do is just stay on that tower. They've got to play offense here. I think they've got to take some risks.
Hold on to everything, folks, because we're going to be headed to overtime, it looks like. Green making the final push. 4-2 advantage on the field for Green.
It looks like they're going to take that checkpoint. Here they come. Thomas G goes into the water.
Get to the final checkpoint and get to 18. They no! Orange able to hold them off at the tail end. And Ashley, you see just the shots of jubilation from John Numbers in the Orange team as they emerge victorious. My goodness, Ashley, we've seen some fantastic finishes
I mean,
in Splatoon, but
yes.
you look at what was at stake right there, and what can you say about the orange team's performance at that last moment?
I mean, great choice to stay up high on a perch, not try to shoot on the tower from underneath it. Excellent, excellent, excellent strategy. It's the hardest thing in the world when you really want to take that last checkpoint and you group up on the tower, because that just means no, you're all just sitting ducks.
It's such a good point, Smitty, and as we're sitting here losing our voices left and right trying to follow that action, that final push, you can't really abandon your fundamentals for the most part, and if you stick together, you become an easy target. Looks like the leaderboard's ready for this one. As we mentioned, the winning team, those 4 advance to the next stage. Let's go ahead and see who will be advancing to the next stage in the 2017 Nintendo World Championships. That'll be your orange team, as we mentioned. We're still going to work on that graphic right there and hold that as a surprise for you folks right now. But you see the 4 teams. Obviously, they were very excited, those members right there, and just all the tension. I mean, one team wins it, another team wins it, then they go to the 3rd match, and then green almost makes that push.
They almost did, and honestly, like, I really thought that they were going to take the tower into overtime, and maybe pull out, eke out that win, but they just, it was so close.
It looks like they finally inked the territory for the leaderboard backstage. Let's go ahead and reveal that one here as our leaderboard gets set as we advance to our next stage. Thomas G, Jeff B, John Numbers still hanging alive, your 2015 champion, and Cole G. Meanwhile, that means we have some new members of the Underground, and let's see who's heading below ground to try and stave off elimination. As we mentioned, those 4 teams, 4 members of that team that lost, they'll move to the Underground, and here we go, Smitty, another opportunity where you are getting set to face an Underground and elimination. You got to breathe and collect yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a team-based game. We'll see what happens next if it's not, if it's a solo thing. But it was, you really just got to, as I said, bring it.
Lots of great stuff here, as we mentioned. We just got done with stage 4. What that means, we have an Underground 4. So for more on what that game will be, let's take a look.
Underground Stage 4. Tetris. To many players, it's the game that defines the puzzle genre. Just line up the Tetraminos into complete lines to clear them and beat each level. For the next 3 minutes, competitors will have as many tries as they want to set a high score, and the top 2 will survive to the next stage of the Underground. May the true puzzle masters clear out the competition.
Well, why don't you go into your kitchen, reach into that junk drawer, find some 4 AA batteries, and play some Tetris. Fortunately, we don't have to do it for this, but my goodness, it's basically the game that every human being has played before. It defines the puzzle genre, and before we talk about what our players will face, let's look at the rules for our Underground 4. It's Tetris, folks. Difficulty set to 0 hearts. That's basically the same as level 10. Players have 3 minutes to get the highest score they can. Yes, you can try as many times as you want. We will take the top 2 based on their highest score. Audrey, welcome back to the desk here. We're still catching our breath from that Splatoon 2. You look at Tetris, and obviously you're going to be stacking things and clearing lines. Tell us a little bit more about what's going to be taking place here on the main stage.
Now, this is the mother of all puzzle games, and it seems deceptively simple, right? You have to fill a row to kill a row, but there are all kinds of factors going on. There are different shapes, different rotations, and you really have to keep all this in mind, which wells you're building up. Otherwise, your wall's going to stack up, and you're going to... It's not going to be good.
And, well, that wouldn't be good at all. And, Ashley, when it comes to scoring with these lines, you have to be very careful because every 10 lines, you move up a level. That means everything's going to fall faster. However, the scoring is very unique for how you do things. Tell me about why you want to sometimes aim for more lines than that simple single line sometimes.
I mean, of course, everybody wants to build a Tetris. And Tetris is worth 1,200 points?
1,200 points for a Tetris.
1,200 points for Tetris. And then at every level, it goes up by a factorial, which is, get out your algebra books,
N
guys.
plus 1 to the 1, carry the 2, divided by, but basically a lot of points.
But leveling up means a lot more points. And so you have to choose between, okay, this is going to start pretty fast. The pieces are going to move pretty quickly. So you have to choose, do I want to go a little bit faster? You make that gamble, you get extra points, or do you play it safe in Zero Heart.
That's a very good point as you point out the scores. 40 points for a single line, 100 for a double, 300 for a triple, 1,200 for a Tetris here, Audrey. And so you might be making quick work doing single lines and have a nice clean screen, but it takes 30 single lines to equal 1 Tetris. So how do you go about trying to manage, all right, I got to line up for a Tetris, or maybe I got to try again and find out what's going to be the best move for me?
I think at this point, if you're going for survival, you kind of have to take the risk. You have to go for the glorious Tetris and try and get as many points as possible.
And there's a lot of blocks, obviously. They're very recognizable. They call them by the letters. You got the I, the S, the Z, the T, the O, the L, and the J. So being able to quickly maneuver those. And it seems like, Ashley, the players that are successful can position the well, that one spot where you want that I block to fall down, and then manage the other rows so it doesn't get too messy like a child's playroom.
Yeah, you definitely don't want it to get too messy. But here's the thing. If it does get a little bit messy, you have to very quickly decide if you're going to start over, just throw that and tower it up and go again, or you have to decide if you can eke it out with the pieces that you're going to get.
All right, well, let's get set for underground number 4. And for more on that, let's send it down to Andrea.
Thank you, Jordan. What a crazy Splatoon 2 round. Didn't see that coming. All right, so now these guys are going to give it their shot to become the best puzzle master in the group. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
And everybody loves that music, and look at those graphics right there, Ashley. And as we mentioned, 0 heart, that's the same as 10 speed, and we see Kyle W. right now trying to establish some positioning right now. However, Santiago looks like building a bit of a bridge on that screen.
Yeah, Marco are also having a little bit of trouble setting up those pieces.
Dan S. has got a nice position going here, got a well on the left-hand side, could use an I block, good positioning of that Z, good positioning of another Z, that's good for double lines. Early leader right now at 187, 197, 206 for Dan S. That middle top screen is your leader. There's the GOAT, though. Anytime you hear that, meh, it means you're starting over, basically. And Audrey, sometimes you might just want to stack everything up, get your GOAT out there, and start with a clean slate.
That's true. If you've made the wrong decision and you really just can't work your way out of it, you just want to stack it up as fast as possible so you can start over.
So smart.
Dan S. clearing all sorts of lines at this point. He is your leader at 8:15 so far. Remember, top 2 scores advance, and Dan S. clearing things out well. Oh, misses an opportunity with that O block, though, for a double line, Audrey.
That's true. It's so important here to look at the preview, see what Tetranomos are coming along your way so you can make space for them.
And what's crazy here, Ashley, is that 1 Tetris is worth 1,200 points, and that's going to really help out anybody that can get one of those.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to need 12 double hits to double lines to be able to match 1 Tetris.
Oh, Dan S.
Man, oh no.
Trying to create the Empire State Building on the right-hand side of the screen right there. Another I block. We got, Dan S. 34-77. That's your top score so far. 1:18 left for all of our competitors to try and get one of those top 2 scores and move along here at Underground 4. Keep an eye on Kyle W. I think at this point, 1 Tetris is really going to help separate yourself, and you have to start really thinking about that, Ashley.
Here we go. Here's the Tetris. Kyle W.
1,664. That homage.
He was too excited. He got the Tetris and he missed that placement.
Now you're creating more gaps, but if you're Kyle, you just have to kind of keep being very patient, Audrey, and not trying to push anything at this point.
That's true, and this is such a precision game. If you move one of these blocks just 1 square to the left or right too much, you can really mess things up for yourself.
30 seconds left. We'll try to pull out to the 6th shot here and show you how everybody's doing as we get set to wrap things up. You see Kyle W. having to reset, and with 30 seconds left, you're going to have to hold down, move those Tetranomos down to the bottom of the screen as fast as you can, and try to hang on for one of those last 2 spots. And tension is high, and you got to be very careful about your moves here, Audrey.
It's true, and you can't be distracted by those beautiful green graphics either.
Our 2 top scores are right around 3,400, 1,600, although that's not exact. We'll see if anybody can do anything special. 8 seconds left here in Tetris. These 6 players trying to hang on to their championship hope. Pivotal score. Let's see if Dan S. can get one more line. No.
So close.
Time is over. Our judges will tabulate the scores, and Tetris, kind of like Bird and Beans, if for some reason nobody's played it yet, Ashley, this can be a game that's a lot more difficult than it looks.
It absolutely is at faster speeds. I mean, you really have to not only manage everything that's going on inside your main column, but then you have to be looking at what's coming next. You have to be thinking about where it's going. I mean, there is even a scientific term called the Tetris effect. And I think I have it because every time I pack a suitcase, I'm like, okay, this is just like, we've all been there. I think everybody who's played Tetris has been there.
I think so.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how they fared and how that one Tetris can really just help vault you to the top of the standings potentially. But getting there's hard because, Audrey, you're on 0 heart. It's essentially level 10. Normally, you're working your way up to that, getting a feel for things. But to start cold turkey into that can be very difficult.
It just throws you right into the fire there, so you have to start planning your strategy and executing right from the very beginning.
And it's such a departure from what we were doing in Splatoon. I don't think there's a whole lot in common with Tetris.
No.
And
how long has it been since any of them have played Tetris?
And who knows? It's a very good point. It's one of those games that, you know, maybe you get a chance to play while growing up, but it's a classic. You see why it's a classic. A lot of skill involved with that. Judges still working on that leaderboard. We'll try to determine the top 2 scores that'll move on to Underground 5. You see the back room. Give them a round of applause. All their hard work putting on this championship right now. We sit up here and talk, but they're the ones doing all the real work down there. And
hooray for math.
Yes, we all love math.
Well done.
And Audrey, you look at just these players that have to survive in the underground, and you know, at this point, you're at the stage, you're late in the tournament. What are the nerves? What are they feeling down there?
They're feeling the heat right now, and really that's not going to help them survive. They've got to get over that, get their thumbs in working order, and really pull out a miracle here.
And Ashley, it's amazing how many different controllers our players have had to handle already through these first 4 stages. I think I've counted 7 or 8 different systems already.
And you've got to remember where every stick is, where every button is, where every bumper is, where every trigger is. I mean, it's just, this is why they are the best of the best, because they can pick up any of those controllers and jump right in and do a great job.
And being able to jump in and handle everything that they possibly can. And it sounds like this one's pretty close because they are still crunching those numbers in the back room, trying to figure everything out. You want to be precise. You might be checking some replays and see what score somebody exactly had. Maybe somebody had a high score when the timer went off as well, too. And so you want to be precise. You want to give everybody that fair chance. But we'll be preparing for our next stage here soon. And as we whittle things down here, we're truly seeing here, Audrey, the players that can handle the stage and be able to just really calm themselves down are able to be successful.
Absolutely. The players who are the most successful are the ones who, even if it's not a game that they're familiar with, they're able to adapt. They're able to rely on their gamer instinct and pull out some great moves, even if it's not something they're familiar with.
One of the things that we saw was something that we see in the competitive Tetris scene, which is building your well either on the outside, so 1 and 10, positions 1 and 10, or you see them building in 3 and 8. And so we actually saw DNS doing that. We saw these players making an effort to really build up the ability to grab that Tetris when that eye block comes up, but it wasn't often enough for some of them.
Sounds like our leaderboard is ready to go. So let's see who will advance to the next underground here in the 2017 Nintendo World Championships. When it was all said and done, Dan S. and Kyle W., they hang on to move on to the next round. Dan S. surviving yet another underground stage. Kyle's like, all right, I'll take that. I'll move along. I'm happy. I'm still alive. So that's certainly very exciting stuff right there. And your thoughts on Dan S. surviving yet another round here, Audrey?
That's absolutely fantastic. Dan's got to be feeling good right now. He's still got a chance. He could be our champion for all we know.
Well, as we said, as 2 more players move on, that means we do have to say goodbye to a couple others that have to put the controller down for good in this year's championships. And for more with them, let's send it back down to Andrea.
Thanks so much, Jordan. Oh my gosh, you guys, I know this night feels like it just keeps going, but we have to give these guys a round of applause for a job well done at a classic game. Thank you so much. And again, congrats to Dan and Kyle W. for moving on. I also want to give a big round of applause to all of our fantastic Nintendo referees that are on stage, you guys. Go ahead, stand up, wave your arms, take your bow. They're like, no, we're sitting down. We are doing very important business right now. So these guys are great. They're making sure the players are ready to go and that all of the machinery is working properly. So we could not be here and do this competition without them. So thank you so much to all of you guys. So yeah, they definitely give another round of applause. So I want to know real quick before we talk to Jordan, who here has visited the Nintendo New York store? Everybody? That's amazing. I was going to tell you that's where you can get some amazing Nintendo World Championship 2017 exclusive apparel. It's pretty cool. They've got hoodies, they've got T-shirts, all kinds of stuff. So I want to know real quick before I go back, Jordan, I see you. Look at that smile.
I see you two down there. You're doing a great job, by the way. Everybody give it up for
Jordan
Andrea.
Kent, everybody, is holding it down.
Stop, please. Stop.
You make me look
Stop,
good. I
stop,
just come out
stop,
here every once
stop.
in a while, right? He is amazing. But listen, we got to get this. We got to keep this thing going. So Jordan, I'm going to toss it back up to you.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you so much, Andrea. So now we are here at stage 5. I'm joined by Morgan and Bill. And before we talk about strategy here, we got to figure out what we're playing. So let's take a closer look. 4 final competitors, stage 5 of the 2017 Nintendo World Championships.
Stage 5. Is someone at the door? What are you, some kind of chew toy? Oh, hey. Oh, this thing can punch. Oh. Is this thing on? Can everybody hear me? Good. I'm Biff, your trusty Arms League commentator. Now pump your fists in the air for the world's stretchiest fighting sport, arms. Just don't punch anyone. That's the job of our top 4 competitors who will be paired up to face off in one-on-one matches. The victors will move on to the finals, and the other 2 will drop to the underground. May the most focused fighters guide their punches to victory.
Oh, how about some arms right there? Our crowd loving that. And so this will be very exciting. This is another game that we saw at E3 earlier this year. And let's talk to you about the rules for Stage 5 arms as we try to pit our 4 finalists against each other as they try to move into the championship round. It's going to be arena mode, one-on-one, no items. You win 2 rounds to win a game. You win a game, and you have to win 2 games to win the match. Winners advance to the finals. The other 2 drop to the underground. Now the matchups have been seeded randomly. And Bill, let's talk about arms. What is so unique about this new game for Nintendo?
Well, obviously, ARMS is a game it's a fighting game. You've got extendable arms. You can play with either button controls or with motion controls, but the unique combination of the distance from the arms, the timing of your hits, the grabs and whatnot makes it a really, really fun game on Nintendo Switch and something that I think people are going to hopefully show us some really cool moves at.
And Morgan, Bill alluding to some of the arms and some of the characters. Not all characters are created equal. What are we going to see as far as differences with characters and maybe some of the differences with the arms that they can equip?
Yeah, so they're going to get to pick the character they want and then equip each arm. That's sort of, we have stretchy arms, but there's actually things you attach to that. So you might have defensive ones. You might have ones that make you, you can do faster moves. You might have ones that help you sort of, it can have different attributes. And we'll talk about that during the matches. We don't know what they're going to pick. There's a lot of combinations out there.
Absolutely. Some of these arms have elemental attributes as well too, Bill, that you can charge those arms. You might be able to freeze, shock, burn, or even explode your opponent to help give you an advantage. And as we get the players set here, Bill, talk to me a little bit more. You were mentioning blocking, throwing, punching. Is there a bit of a triangle and a read and react that goes to being able to emerge victorious?
There is obviously when you throw a punch, if you block that, you're able to block it. You can also dodge. And because of the time, the duration that the arm is stretched out, if you get a dodge in and then attack again, that's a great way to counter. Of course, if you're trying to block and they throw out both arms, that's a grab. They're going to grab right through that shield, pick you up and throw you, and that's going to do quite a bit of damage.
And throughout these matchups, Morgan, we're going to see a yellow triangle start to light up and then potentially catch on fire. That is a rush attack. What does that mean if someone deploys that?
Yeah, so you're going to see, when you see that little yellow triangle, it's like catches fire. You can unleash a flurry of rush attacks. You fire it off, and you can just punch it super, super fast. And what's really neat is that makes the opponent have to go into a really defensive stance or try to counter that. And there's even a quirk where you can carry that power to the next round. So if you're losing a round, you have your rush ready, really advanced players will carry that over.
And we talked about the characters that you can choose from, Bill. Some of them have special attributes, such as being able to jump 4 times in the air or regain their health. When it comes to choosing a character, what did you look for when you helped kind of settle in on a character that you like to use in ARMS?
I've tried out a few of the different ones. I actually really like Ribbon Girl and her jumping ability. She is a favorite of mine. I love just being able to kind of jump in the air, use that to charge up, and use those charge punches to then get at my opponent and really take control of the match.
And Morgan, A term that, well, let's be honest, can be difficult for millennials sometimes. Patience. How does patience work in this matchup?
Well, it's important in arms. Obviously, you're trying to punch your opponent, but it's also equally important to be ready for what they're going to do. So if you have a punch sort of at your disposal, you haven't thrown both out, and you see something coming, you can use a single punch to counter a grab.
Let's get set for our first matchup here. You've got Min Min taking on Kid Cobra. You've got Cole on the right as Kid Cobra. Min Min on the left is Thomas. Now Kid Cobra, he can go ahead and dash multiple times underneath punches. Meanwhile, Min Min can counter punches. You see that left arm turn into a dragon. And early on in this one, Bill, we see Min Min trying to keep Kid Cobra at bay. Why is spacing important?
Well, spacing is important because you've got different characters with different abilities, and Min Min is one where if she's able to maintain that distance, it's going to be to her advantage.
65 seconds left in this first round. Min Min having her way with Kid Cobra right now. Kid Cobra missing with the throw right now. Min Min, though, connecting with that left arm, and Kid Cobra unable to really break through with that Slam-O-Mander at this point. Min Min dodging back left and right. Kid Cobra missing with that throw. Oh, Min Min connecting with a charge attack right there. And the first round is gonna go ahead and go to Min Min. And Morgan, what we saw from Thomas was using those charge punches, and those are obviously going to do much more.
Yeah, look, check this out. Min Min's coming into round 2 with a rush attack already ready, so already has an advantage right out of the gates.
Also, these arms have different weights as well, too, Morgan. And if I've got a heavy arm, in the example of Min Min and that right megawatt, that's not going to get really stopped by anything that Kid Cobra can throw.
Yeah, so if your fists collide in midair, that heavier punch is going to push the other one out of the way and try to make contact still.
And Bill, we see Min Min still hanging on to that rush attack. You sometimes don't have to necessarily use that as soon as you get it.
That's right, and I suspect that what we're doing here is we're seeing her kind of whittle away, and she's probably going to unleash that when she thinks she's got just enough health left to take him out.
Kid Cobra continuing to fall down, might have to shed some skin here. Meanwhile, Min Min essentially untouched this round, doing a fine job of changing things up, using that Ram, also switching it up with the Megawatt. Kid Cobra missing with the Slam-O-Mander right there. It looks like Kid Cobra using the rush attack. Whoa, what'll happen right here? Kid Cobra trying to hang on and slither his way to a victory. Meanwhile, Min Min's gonna get tossed in the air, and that's a huge throw right there, Bill, as Kid Cobra trying to keep that higher vantage point.
That's right, he's trying to keep the high ground. He's also trying to close that gap between him and Min Min. That's what gave him the ability to make that grab.
Kid Cobra just one punch away from falling down. Meanwhile, Min Min can't relax quite yet. Min Min trying to charge those arms. Kid Cobra connecting with the left, but no! Thomas G with Min Min takes the first game, winning the best 2 out of 3 rounds, which means Thomas G just needs to win one more game to move on to the finals. And what we saw there, Morgan, was just a lot of patience from Min Min. Decided to drop down from the middle part of the stage that was elevated and really just took her time attacking Kid Cobra.
You saw patience, but you also saw constant movement. And I think anybody who watched our E3 tournament and saw Mr. Yabuki play saw that, wow, you can really move in this game. You can constantly keep your opponent off balance by dodging, jumping, dashing, and then taking your opportunity when it presents itself.
Yeah, it was very impressive when we saw Mr. Yabuki at E3. He termed the move the Yabuki, bouncing somebody off the springs on Springman stage and comboing that into a rush attack. Let's see here. Thomas G is Min Min once again. Let's see if Cole decides to go with anything different, changing the arm on Kid Cobra. And Bill, what's nice is you're not locked into the 2 same arms for every single round.
That's right. You're able to switch arms between rounds. It's really important. You've got to look at how your opponent is using their arms, what arms they're using, and try to counteract that with maybe a different strategy. Doesn't quite seem to be working just yet.
I should mention Cole G is Min Min right now. Kid Cobra with that Hydra, unable to connect right there. Min Min still going with that Megawatt, and Ram got the electrical ability of that Megawatt that's going to shock and send Kid Cobra back. And once again, like a small bowl of ramen, Min Min making quick work of Kid Cobra right there. And what we're seeing, Morgan, is Kid Cobra unable to block or avoid the attacks coming from
I think
Min
Cole
Min.
G might have had an idea that we might make the competitors fight each other in this tournament because he came to play.
Cole G doing a great job here, just 1 round away from advancing to the finals here. And Bill, you start to think about the strategy with Min Min. If I am Kid Cobra, is there anything I can do to disrupt Min Min?
You know, it's really tough. He saw his best success when he was in that high ground, keeping it close. It doesn't seem to be working for him right here, though. I have to say, though, that we do have our Min Min player is somebody who has placed very high in Smash tournaments in the past, and it seems that this is playing to his advantage right now.
It sounds like those Smash players are able to translate that success to ARMS. Kid Cobra, you gotta use the rush attack, but no! Cole G with a perfect closeout. Hide the box of Band-Aids, because he don't need that after not even taking a single punch in that match. Very impressive work by Cole G. Goes and takes that round as well, too, and both games. So Cole G
that was a spicy
his
battle.
ticket into the finals, and that's what you see in the hands of a very adept player. Min Min is almost untouchable, hiding behind that big, heavy megawatt, and then moving around the side with that ram, because Morgan, these punches don't just sail straight, do they?
Yeah, you can actually, we're seeing some of the players do that. If you haven't seen this game before, you can, after you punch, you can actually control the punch by moving your hand or the control stick, depending on how you're playing. So that gives you the opportunity to sort of, you know, if you throw the punch a little left, you can steer it back to the right and knock your opponent out.
And actually, Jordan, I have to correct myself. Cole G just really pulled off an upset. It was Thomas G. There were just too many G's in there.
A lot of G's right here.
Who was a former pro Smash player. So that actually is a pretty big upset here at the event.
Cole, very impressive. Let's go ahead and take a look at a replay at that thrilling match that we had between Cole and Thomas. And you saw Cole using Min Min, and there was a moment here where you had a couple of rush attacks ready to go. But here goes Cole G on your left-hand side, gonna activate that rush attack, and that's gonna do substantial damage on Kid Cobra to the tune of 300, and that's gonna basically swing the tide of any match.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed that, but he waited till his opponent was in the air, vulnerable, and then unleashed the rush, and that is like a next level.
And that's a good point, Bill, because in ARMS, you have to pick and choose. You're not just flailing your arms and trying to get lucky with punches. You have to find your openings and try to connect.
Well, that's right. And the other thing you have to do is you have to know what's been going on in the game from a balancing standpoint. This is a game that the team has been updating. They've even added new characters with characters like Lollipop. And in fact, there's some new features that they're planning for the game. We're going to have a trailer that's going to be going live just after this event where people can go and get more information on that. But this is a game that the development team continues to support, continues to balance. And if you don't know how they've been tweaking the characters and the arms, you're not going to be able to perform your best.
Well, I think the audience loves the chance to see anything new and exclusive, so certainly excited for that. Players are getting set for our second matchup, as we mentioned, John Numbers being one of the returning champions. And Morgan, we weren't sure how Numbers was going to respond. He's been on this stage before, was your champion in 2015, but so far hasn't had any issues, and he's stayed in the upper tier of players so far throughout this entire tournament.
Yeah, he hasn't shown a lot of weakness in his game, and I'm assuming that, ARMS being a new fighting game, he probably guessed. I think that he's savvy enough to know maybe what might they throw at us, so I'm excited to see. John Numbers also a good Smash player. Can he fight it out in the ARMS arena?
We'll try not to get confused. We're set for our next match. A couple of ribbon girls here. We'll let you know who's the dark ribbon girl and who's the blonde ribbon girl. Pick this one up early, and you see ribbon girl, Bill. Her special ability allows her to jump not once, but several times.
That's right. She can jump several times in the air. That's great. You hold that jump button down, and you're going to charge up the punch. You're going to be ready to come in and attack. Of course, you can also charge if you do a long block, but those can really come in handy as you're going against your
Looks
opponents.
like we've got names up now.
Jeff B going as dark ribbon girl, John Numbers as blonde ribbon girl, and it'll be a matchup that'll certainly be tied up nice and tight.
Oh, what a combo from John Numbers.
John Numbers with the stun and the rush attack. Unbelievable work, and John Numbers unscathed as blonde ribbon girl. And Bill, take me through that transition of John Numbers using the charge shock to stun dark ribbon girl and then following up with the rush attack.
That's exactly what I was talking about, is using those charges, getting that going, stunning your opponent, and then the way he unleashed that charge attack, I mean, you expected it, but...
And what's interesting is we're going to go ahead and handle some technical issues that we're having right now. We want to make sure these players get a fair opportunity right now. So our technical team is going to examine some stuff right now. We're being told that we're going to be working on some things right now. You see player one unable to throw those arms at this point. And, these players, they'll have to be ready for anything. And you always want to make sure that it's a fair match for everyone. And you're going to make sure it's a clean slate. So as we try to clean things up, I do want to go back to that first round performance from John Numbers. The ability to combo and link up to that rush attack, that's one of those advanced strategies in ARMS.
It is. And of course, with Ribbon Girl and using that jumping ability, you're able to get those charges going, and he leveraged it.
Sounds like the issues have been figured out right now as we have dual rush attacks going back and forth. Can John Numbers go ahead and take this round? And yes, John Numbers with the toss. That'll take the first game as we get set for our final one here shortly. And we're back here. John Numbers goes and takes the first game. He needs one more game, meaning he has to win 2 of 3 rounds. And what we saw here, a very quick study for John Numbers here. I mean, this is a game that's been out for a couple months now at this point here, Morgan. John Numbers showing that he's very adept already.
Yeah, he's looking really good there. And yeah, the ability to sort of time when you do grabs, time when you do rush attacks. You've seen, maybe some viewers haven't seen this game, you're starting to see you get these little exclamation points by your arms and those get disabled. You're unable to punch or block, and that's a perfect opportunity to go in for a grab or go in for a rush attack.
And the elements of the arms, when you charge them up, we saw John Numbers use that Sparky, which is going to shock and stun the opponent, and was able to lead into a rush attack doing that. And a lot of times too, Bill, we saw John Numbers just being patient, not being the aggressor. How important is it to read your opponent and counter the proper way in this game?
You know, for a lot of players, it's a really great strategy, especially if you're playing somebody who you've never faced before. It's really good to kind of take that time, see how they're going to attack, and then plan your response.
And you obviously have to read everything, and as a reminder, you can punch, you can block, you can throw. There's a bit of a triangle there, and so being able to determine that, and throws can be a very powerful tool here, Morgan, because they're going to do upwards of 150 damage if you can connect.
That's right. And throws are also can be an opportunity if your opponent's throwing too many of them to have a good quick counter. So a lot of, you see advanced players will keep a punch back, so when they see that throw coming in, they can stagger that throw with one punch and then go in with a throw of their own.
And a lot of times avoiding damage from a punch isn't about just blocking it, but Bill, the lateral movement and the dashes and the air dashes, how does that come into play?
It's, you know, it's critical. You really do need to read the punches that are coming in at you, and you've got to know how to respond to them in order to leverage that movement to either dodge and get around, you know, jump out of the way. There's definite ways to then counter your opponent depending on which choices you've made in terms of that movement. It's critical to the game.
Yeah, obviously very pivotal to understanding things. And then also the character selection. It seems like for the most part, people are going with very nimble, agile characters that they can move around freely that don't necessarily have the biggest targets. You look at Min Min, Kid Cobra, and both the Ribbon Girls. Let's take a look at a replay, though, of what John Numbers was doing when he was victorious in that first game. Here he is as Blonde Ribbon Girl on the right-hand side, close to getting that rush attack. Now it's activated, connects with the left popper, but then here comes that charged Sparky, that right fist that stuns Dark Ribbon Girl. That leads into a throw, and that's going to be followed here by yet another charged Sparky as soon as Dark Ribbon Girl gets up, led into that rush attack, Bill. And it's all about linking together these different ways to attack in order to be successful.
And that was just almost a perfect chain of events that John Numbers executed right there.
And you see his ability to really grasp and understand this game. And Morgan, you were there at the 2015 World Championships. What's the tension like as you start to get to these final rounds as we get closer and closer to the championship round?
You know, I don't know if these guys are thinking too far ahead right now because ARMS, you know, it's one-on-one. Like, they cannot get to the final unless they get past the person they are fighting right now. So I'm thinking that they're pretty focused right on these matches.
And you look at the situation where maybe you drop that round. Is there something where you maybe go, Bill, with a different character so that your opponent can't rely on the same strategy? And how do you possibly counter what Ribbon Girl was doing?
I mean, it really depends. Certainly, as a player, you tend to focus maybe on one character. If you're a versatile player, you will try to master a few. It really just depends on whether or not you've got another character that you feel is good enough to be another go-to.
Well, it looks like that question's answered as we see Dark Ribbon Girl versus Blonde Ribbon Girl. John Numbers playing as Blonde Ribbon Girl won the first game, just has to win one more to move to the finals, connecting with that charge popper that's going to go ahead and push Dark Ribbon Girl back. Meanwhile, Dark Ribbon Girl trying to connect with those two Sparkies. Both fighters just feeling each other out right now. Charged Sparkies from Jeff B on the left. John Numbers just trying to get a feel for things. And here we see, Bill, both fighters really taking their distance, but Numbers connecting with the throw.
That's right. He jumped in the air to avoid that punch and then launched the grab from midair, and that's what made
Ribbon Girl doesn't just have a double jump or a triple jump. She has a quad jump in air, and you can use dash to drop down quickly. So you can spend a lot of time dancing up in the air and then come down right in time to attack your opponent.
Something about a ribbon dancer, I like that right now. John Numbers still in the early lead, untouched at this point, dancing around the air. Here comes the rush attack, but no!
What a
John Numbers says and a rush attack to finish off that round, and John Numbers with the second perfect, showing you how to play with Ribbon Girl, basically, Bill.
That was, I mean, I'm taking lessons here. That was really impressive.
All right, Jeff B is in between between a rock and a hard place as he gets set to take on Ribbon Girl. Meanwhile, all John Numbers has to do is tie up one more victory with Ribbon Girl, and he's going to find himself a spot in our 3-player championship round. Counters right there with the right Sparky.
See him using that quad jump. Ooh.
And what we're seeing, Morgan, is Dark Ribbon Girl, Jeff B, unable to block a lot of those basic punches.
Well, you can see he's waiting to get a punch, and John's using that quad jump to dance around in the air. He doesn't know when to punch. John drops down when he wants to and lays the first hit.
Oh, John Numbers, beautiful. The air dodge to the left to avoid the punch, followed by the grab, and yet another perfect John Numbers. The man can't be touched when it comes to arms. 3 perfects en route to 2-game victory, and he punches his ticket to the 3-player finals. And what you're seeing there is if you can read and react here, Bill, and be able to draw up the perfect attack or perfect move at that moment, you can be successful in arms.
This is true, but when you're facing somebody of John Numbers' caliber, obviously he's a pro player at Smash. I'm sure he's played a lot of this game. He's probably learned the intricacies. It's not an easy task.
Unfortunately, though, you still have one more underground around the corner here. We'll get that leaderboard up for you in just a second. Sounds like leaderboard is ready to go, so let's take a look at our results after Stage 5 arms competition with our 4 remaining players, Cole G and John Numbers, moving on to the championship stage. However, Thomas and Jeff, well, let's take a look at our final underground. It'll be 4 players, Kyle, Steven, Dan, as we said, let's go ahead and fix that. We appreciate Bailey being here with us, but unfortunately, Bailey took an early exit off the ropes, and you get one more chance here, Bill, in this underground. How aggressive do you have to be with only 1 spot potentially remaining?
Well, and that's it. This is the last spot. It's not even 2 players moving on. We're down to 1 before the finals.
It's very exciting stuff, and as you continue to look at the players that progress here, Morgan, what's impressing you the most about the skill on display that we're seeing this evening?
I've had my eye on Cole G for almost the whole round. He's been doing a really good job the whole upper bracket, and Numbers, of course. I mean, gosh, talk about being built for this kind of thing, man.
Very familiar. Can he be a back-to-back champion? Still plenty more games before we get to that point as well, too. And, you know, you look at someone being able to master ARMS and then Mario Kart and Splatoon and everything that's thrown at you, and it goes to show you that not only do you have to be a well-rounded player, but you also have well-rounded taste in some quality games here.
That's right, and certainly we're not through all of them just yet. We have already seen just the gamut of what you can expect. I mean, it has been, from start to finish, I think, just an amazing lineup of games that these players have competed in.
It's been terrific. However, we do have to move along to our final underground, underground number 5. Here's a look at what game our players will be playing.
Underground Stage 5.
Yahoo!
Mario Party 2. These minigames have lasted the test of time. The competitors will be ranked based on their performance in each minigame, and only 1 player will survive the festivities. May the minigame master party on to the finals.
Get the pizza rolls, grab your sleeping bag, and have your mom come pick you up in the morning because it's time for some Mario Party. And we've got Mario Party 2, which we know is the best Mario Party. No other conversations or arguments will be taken at this moment. But let's get to the rules for this one, our final underground stage. Here's how things are going to work out. Mario Party 2, home of some of the finest mini games you will find on any console. It blessed us with its presence on Nintendo 64. Players will compete in 3 mini games. There will be 3 rounds to each one of those mini games. Very exciting stuff right there. What mini games? Well, let's get the party started with bumper balls. After bumper balls, it'll be some hexagon heat. And then we'll close things out with shell shocked. How it works here. If you win any game, you get 2 points. If you tie, whether that's 2 players, 3 players, or even 4, everyone gets 1 point. Essentially, we're playing 9 sets here. Whoever has the most points after these 9 mini-game matchups will move on to join us in the 3-player championship round. One more look at the rules. It's just simply the highest point total at the end earns a place in the finals. Our 3 games, bumper balls, hexagon heat, and shell shock. So, Bill, these games, absolutely incredible. but there's also something pretty cool about these, that there might be something around the corner involving these.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Well, yes,
yeah.
of course. These are mini games that are going to be featured in Mario Party Top 100, releasing later this year. But these particular mini games, we're going to see not only are you playing each one 3 times, each time the stage is going to change. So you're going to be seeing a different version of the map in those mini games across each one. One other note: if a player locks in a victory before we get through all 9. This round will end at that point because we only have one moving on.
And that's such a good point. If someone does start to sweep the field and get to 10 or 12 points early on, we're moving on to the championship. Sorry, no consolation games at this point. And Morgan, these can be some quick hitters, though. And as we know, if you want to lose friends in life, you play Mario Party 2 with them. So as you look at the potential of other players maybe ganging up on the leader, there's a lot of strategy going into these 3 simple mini games.
Yeah, I think anybody who's played Mario Party knows it's like there's the relaxing time. You're moving around the board, you're doing spaces, and then boom, mini game, and it is on. It turns besties into frenemies, and it has ruined friendships. And then maybe you're in a team one after that, and you're right back together. So, man, this game puts you through an emotional roller coaster.
All right, well, to get things started on Mario Party 2, let's go ahead and send it down to Andrea.
Thanks, Jordan. You know, I would still be your friend if you beat me in Mario Party. Actually, no, I'm the worst loser out there. I definitely wouldn't. But New York, are you guys ready to party? Okay, players, 3, 2, 1, go.
Mario Party 2 bumper balls, and no, Luigi, you can't win by doing nothing. You gotta do something here, Luigi. And they're all meeting in the middle at this point right now. Yoshi, Wario, Luigi, and Mario, and they're just bumping back and forth. It's a little bit of rush hour traffic at this point here, Bill.
That's right, Jordan. And in fact, what's amazing about this game is that everybody's clumped in there. It could go for the full 40 seconds left here at this point, but somebody works up enough momentum, and that's what you're not seeing here, is that because they're all clumped together, they're not getting enough of that momentum to really push something else
Mario
off.
trying to go around the outside. Luigi's on the perimeter. Mario flirting with the outside. Of course, the more momentum you get, the more you can bump somebody. There goes Wario towards the edge, though. Wario trying to get Mario. You want to avoid those double bumps. But right now, everyone's just dancing and holding hands in the middle, singing Kumbaya. We might have a 4-way tie, 1 point for everybody. Let's see if somebody wants to take a risk at the end. But no, looks like we're going to just have all 4 in the middle. 3 seconds left. Is anybody getting bumped up? No! Oh! Yoshi almost gives Mario a taste of his medicine and drops Mario into a pit right there, but all 4 players tie, which means 1 point for all 4 players. And early strategy there, Morgan, stick to the middle.
Yeah, I guess that 1 point is better than 0 points, and maybe it's not worth going for 2 if you can get 1.
This is a very good point, but that middle strategy changed because we got a little bit of ice in the middle right now, and we see our first competitor headed off right now. What else will happen? We've got 3 players left, Luigi, Mario, and Wario left on our second stage of bumper balls. Now remember, if you get bumped on that ice, you're gonna go rolling pretty far. Let's see if Mario can pick on his brother or if Wario wants top billing. 30 seconds left here, and Morgan, everyone, once again, trying to stay in the middle, but a little bit harder with that slip ice.
Yeah, the physics are different on this compared to the first round, so they're gonna be slipping a lot more, sliding a lot more, and you're gonna have to be less aggressive.
Let's help you identify who's in right now. Mario is Dan S, Luigi Kyle W, and Wario is Thomas G. Meanwhile, Yoshi took an early spill, might miss out on a potential point, but will anybody be aggressive and go for those 2 points? They're still bouncing back and forth. 5 seconds left in this one. Looks like we might just have a 3-way tie. That's another critical point for Dan, Kyle, and Thomas. It brings their total to 2. Jeff just at 1 as they get set for the 3rd round of bumper balls. And Bill, at some point, someone's going to have to try to win this thing.
Well, you know, I never thought I'd say this, but I think we have to admit, this is some seriously high-level bumper ball play.
It really is high-level bumper ball. All right, our 3rd stage. You see a little bit of undulation with the hills and the rocks right now. And these are players that know what they're doing on these bumper balls. And it's interesting that they're not trying to gang up on anybody. You don't see any 2-on-1s. It's just everybody getting a chance to bump each other. And we see about 37 seconds left. Anybody's match still. And we're back here with all 4 players. This 3rd and final match of bumper balls. 2 points for the winner, 1 point for anyone that draws. And right now, just a lot of hokey pokey going on in the middle.
Mario's
here.
on the edge, though.
Oh, Mario's on the edge. Yoshi trying to bump in, trying to get the double bump combo. And there goes Mario. Down goes Dan S. You saw the 1-2 bump. Yoshi bumping off of Mario and getting the help from Wario. Let's see, 7 seconds left. Can Luigi hang on by still not doing much? Mario bumping Yoshi, the 1-2 punch, and no! So Jeff B getting a point, but what that means is you've got Kyle and Thomas, your 2 leaders with 3 points. However, only 1 person advances. Dan with 2 and Jeff with 2 as we just get done with bumper balls. And as you said, Bill, that is some high-level bumper ball play.
I never thought I'd see it.
Right. And Morgan, the difference in the stages didn't really seem to affect these players too much.
Well, I don't know. The ice, I think we saw, we saw 1 player go off in each of the second 2. So, yeah, but I'm proud of all the players for grabbing some points that round. No one's completely out of it yet. So it's going to be interesting to see how they try to move up the standings.
So our next game is going to be Hexagon Heat, the next mini game. And this one, Bill, you've got to be very careful because you're going to have, as we see here, that white hexagon in the middle. Toad's going to hold up a flag. And that was a preview of what's to come. There are 6 colors. Toad's going to hold up a flag. You have to move to that color and stay on that platform before falling in the lava. However, it sounds a lot easier than it really is, and it's really difficult to get your way to that platform.
That's right, and you can interfere with other players. You can bounce on somebody's head. You can do it intentionally. You can do it unintentionally. When you bounce on their head, they get squished and they can't move for a minute. But when you do it, you get bumped in the air, and if you time that poorly as you're trying to get on that 1 hexagon that's going to stay up, it could bounce you right off the edge.
And Morgan, this is one of those mini games that if you get some highly skilled players, it could go on for a while. And so how do you balance, once again, playing aggressive versus conservative at this point?
This one, I think we're going to see less ties than bumper balls because the jumps are hard. If you don't line your jump up right, oof.
As we mentioned, 7 platforms, Yoshi and Mario hanging on top, but no, Wario takes a lava bath right there, and down goes Thomas G. He was one of our leaders, going to miss out on at least a point. Now Yoshi trying to hang out at the side, but no! Luigi drops down, and now Mario and Yoshi, controlled by Dan and Jeff, have a chance to tie if they can both tie. You see Mario trying to be aggressive to go for the stomp.
Why would he do that to Yoshi?
Jeff B, and you see just the pure joy from these players as we get done with our first round of Hexagon Heat.
The best part of that was that Dan, as soon as it happened,
Oh.
he knew what he did, and he was just laughing his head off, even though he bounced off the edge.
There's nothing you can do, and that's what Mario Party does. However, Luigi taking a vacation of some sorts, and Yoshi, Yoshi and Luigi fall off. It's down to Mario and Wario at this point. Let's see if they can stay on that white spot. And it looks like, Morgan, they're playing a little bit more aggressive than we thought.
I like the aggression. Yeah, we see players trying to make their mark early, but man, if you're in a bad position and the hexagon that goes up is behind you, it's hard to turn around and jump in time, as we've seen.
You got to go hard. So all about that initial position. Mario gonna have to make his way through Wario, and we know Wario's a bit of a wide body here, Bill. Now, you notice the speed speeds up. These platforms will start falling and dropping faster here, Bill.
That's right, and what you're not seeing here is you're not seeing anybody taking risks.
Mario
And as I say
not
that,
able to react in time. Wario able to get the victory there, and Thomas G gets 2 critical points as we try to determine who will be the highest scorer after all these mini games to join our 2 other finalists in the championship round. Let's go to our 3rd and final heat of Hexagon Heat before we move on to our 3rd game. It's the green flag right now, but no, Mario and Luigi. Falling in the lava, that leaves Yoshi and Wario at this point. And it's all about that positioning. And what's interesting too here is if you don't touch the control stick, you cannot be dislodged. So you can't get too antsy with that controller. Yoshi and Wario holding on to blue right now. Their fate is in the tiny hands of Toad in whatever color he holds up. But no, Yoshi! Yoshi flirting with disaster on that white platform. They're still holding strong. This sounds like this could be a great volley of attempts right here. Yellow flag going up. Can Wario make it? No. Yoshi positioned himself at the edge there, Bill, to force Wario to jump.
That was some very good positioning, and it comes right back at him.
Wario with another critical victory. Thomas G gets another crucial 2 points as we close out Hexagon Heat. And up next will be Shell Shocked. So we're starting to get a little bit of separation on the scores here. We'll give you an update when everything's all said and done. Only 1 out of these 4 players advancing to the championship round that we have 3 players in. And as we get set for Shell Shocked here,
That's right.
you have to be careful for blind spots here, Bill. What does that mean?
Well, you've got blind spots in terms of you've got a limited view from the camera behind your shell-shaped tank. You've also got pipes that are blocking your view. particularly when you start out, it's easy to see 1 or 2 characters in your frame of reference. But once you've gotten down to about 2, it can be tough to find the remaining 1 or 2 players.
It really can. There can be a lot of pipes in the way when you're in your tank, and it looks like they're getting set for Shell Shocked. And you have to remember here, Morgan, if you've paid attention to who's maybe winning some of the rounds, do the rest of the competitors try to maybe gang up on that person to make sure that they don't run away with any more points?
I mean, this is all or nothing. We've got 4 competitors, only 1 moves on, so I think it's time to let it all hang out. Maybe they didn't think this was the game they were going to get to put their last life on, but whew.
Thomas G won back-to-back matches at the end of Hexagon Heat, so that was good for some points. Here we go. You got a tank. You got 2 lives left. You've got 2 types of shot, a lob shot or straight on shot. Mario taking some early damage. He's down to 1 shell. There goes Mario. Wario hanging on with, Wario and Yoshi. This could be pivotal if Wario gets his victory right now. Let's take a look at what's going on here. And Wario gets the victory. Impressive stuff right there. And Wario, Thomas G controlling him. We'll see what that does for his score total, but my goodness, you talk about stringing a couple victories together here, Bill, and that was crucial.
That was, and that's, I mean, when you have everyone else fall out of a match and you're actually taking the win, 2 points, that's big in a matchup like this where we had those early ties.
Let's get to our second match of Shell Shocked. Wario was able to run away with it at first, trying to find some cover underneath that pipe. Mario gonna go ahead and take a hit. Wario making sure that he keeps everybody inside on your far left. There goes Mario, he goes going. 1 more shell left for Yoshi and Luigi. Can Wario try to hang on? He's won a couple in a row. Yoshi, Luigi, Wario almost connecting with Yoshi on that long range shot. Wario trying to flank Luigi. Luigi, as always, in a tough spot, trying to avoid getting hit. Long distance hit by Wario on Yoshi. It's up to Luigi at this point to try and put an end to the reign of terror by Wario. Wario controlled by Thomas G. Looks like it's going to be an end. Thomas G trying to do the lob shot. 18 seconds left. Both players getting a feel for each other. Can Thomas G get this victory, close things out? And yes!
Oh my
Thomas G, as Wario connects with the final shot on Shell Shocked, and that means Thomas G has clinched his spot in the championship round. He is the master of Mario Party 2. And Bill, we saw someone finally pull ahead after so many draws on bumper balls.
That was impressive. I mean, and being a big fan of Shell Shocked from way back in the day, it's exciting to watch a match like that.